Welcome back, beauties, to the final episode of Amina and Kong Seo's story. If you missed episode 1, kindly click the link in the pinned comment to watch it now so you understand how one desperate text sent to the wrong number at 2 a.m. turned into an unexpected collision between a lonely black woman and a dangerous Korean mafia boss. You'll see how a mistake became destiny, how fear transformed into attraction, and how a single rose changed everything. Now, in this final episode, Amina must decide, will she run from the darkness or become the queen of an empire built on shadows? Let's find out ourselves. A blood-red rose on her pillow. A man who knows her deepest pain. When Amina steps fully into Kong Seo's dangerous world, she discovers that loving a Korean mafia boss means choosing between the safety of invisibility and the terror of being truly seen. As enemies close in and secrets unravel, she must decide, will she run from the man who makes her feel alive, or become the queen of a kingdom built on shadows? This is where everything changes. The morning sun cut through Amina's apartment window, but she barely noticed. She'd been awake for hours, staring at the silver bracelet on her wrist, replaying every moment from the night before. The estate, the dance, the way Kong Seo had looked at her like she was the only person in the world who mattered. Her phone buzzed. A message from him.
I want to see you today. There's something you need to know about me.
Something I can't hide anymore. Her heart hammered. She typed back quickly. What is it? His response came immediately. Not over text. Meet me at noon. I'll send a car. Amina sat up, anxiety and excitement warring inside her. What could he possibly need to tell her? What hadn't he already revealed? By 11:30, she was dressed in a simple black dress that hugged her curves, her natural coils styled perfectly, makeup subtle but elegant. When she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. The lonely woman who'd sent that desperate text weeks ago felt like a stranger now. The sleek black car arrived exactly at noon. The driver, a stern-faced Korean man in a dark suit, said nothing as he opened the door for her. The drive took them out of her neighborhood, through Seoul's gleaming downtown, and into an area she'd never been before, industrial, quiet, almost abandoned. Her pulse quickened. Where was he taking her? The car stopped in front of a massive warehouse. Amina's stomach dropped. This wasn't romantic. This was dangerous. The driver opened her door. He's waiting inside, he said in accented English. She stepped out, legs shaking. The warehouse loomed before her. Metal doors slightly ajar, darkness beyond. Taking a deep breath, she pushed through the door. Inside, the space was vast and dimly lit. Shipping containers lined the walls. Men in dark suits stood at various positions, all turning to look at her as she entered. Their eyes were cold, assessing. And there, in the center of it all, stood Kong Seo. A handsome Korean man in his early 30s with pale skin, sharp angular jawline, intense dark eyes watching her approach, straight black hair perfectly styled, intricate black ink tattoos visible on his neck crawling up from his crisp white shirt, wearing an expensive tailored black suit. But something was different. His expression was harder, colder. This was a different side of him. Amina, he said, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. Thank you for coming. She walked toward him slowly, aware of every eye on her. What is this place? This, he said, gesturing around, is my world. The world I didn't want you to see. But if we're going to continue, you need to understand who I really am. She stood before him, trying to process what she was seeing. You're not just wealthy, she said quietly. I run one of the largest operations in Seoul, he said bluntly. Import, export, protection, information. Things that exist in shadows. Things that would terrify most people.
Her throat went dry.
Why are you telling me this? He stepped closer, his dark eyes softening slightly. Because I won't lie to you. Because you deserve to know what you're walking into. And because he paused, jaw tightening. Because I'm falling for you, and I need to know if you can handle this. If you can handle me. Before she could respond, one of his men approached quickly, whispering urgently in Korean. Kong Seo's expression darkened immediately. We have a problem, he said, turning back to her. Someone knows you're here. Someone who wants to hurt me will try to use you. Fear shot through her.
What? Who?
A rival, he said tersely. Kim Taemin. He's been trying to take over my territory for months. If he knows about you. He didn't finish the sentence, but the implication hung heavy in the air. Suddenly, the warehouse doors burst open. Men poured in, armed, shouting in Korean. Chaos erupted instantly. Kang Seo grabbed her arm, pulling her behind a shipping container. Stay down, he commanded, his voice sharp and authoritative in a way she'd never heard before. Gunshots echoed through the warehouse. Amina's heart nearly stopped. This was real. This was actually happening. A handsome Korean man in his early 30s with pale skin, sharp angular jawline, intense dark eyes blazing with fury, straight black hair slightly disheveled, intricate black ink tattoos visible on his neck, wearing expensive tailored black suit now wrinkled from movement. He pulled a gun from inside his jacket with practiced ease. He moved with deadly precision, barking orders to his men, returning fire. Amina pressed herself against the cold metal, trembling. This was the man she was falling for. A man who lived in violence. A man whose enemies would kill her just to hurt him. But as she watched him fight, watched him protect his men and her with equal ferocity, she realized something. She wasn't afraid of him. She was afraid for him. The firefight lasted only minutes, but it felt like hours. When the warehouse finally fell silent, Kang Seo's men had subdued the attackers. He holstered his gun and immediately came to her, kneeling down, his hands cupping her face gently. "Are you hurt?" he asked urgently, searching her eyes. She shook her head. "I'm okay. I'm okay." His forehead dropped to hers, his breath ragged. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have brought you here. I thought it was safe. I thought." "Stop," she whispered, her hands covering his. "Just stop." He pulled back, looking at her with something like anguish. "You should run. You should get as far away from me as possible. I'll make sure you're protected, that you're safe, but you can't be part of this world. I won't let you get hurt because of me." She stared at him, at this dangerous, powerful man who was trying to push her away to protect her. And in that moment, something shifted inside her. "What if I don't want to run?" she said quietly. His dark eyes widened. "Amina, what if I choose this? Choose you?" Her voice grew stronger. "I've spent my whole life being invisible, being safe, being nothing to anyone. And then you showed up and made me feel alive, made me feel seen. I'm not running from that." "You don't understand what you're saying," he said, his voice almost desperate. "People will come after you. They'll try to use you against me. Your life will never be normal again." "My life was never normal," she shot back. "Normal was being lonely and heartbroken and invisible. If this is what it means to be with you, then I'll learn. I'll adapt. I'll become whatever I need to be." He looked at her like she was speaking a language he didn't understand. "You're serious," he breathed, completely. For a long moment, he just stared at her. Then slowly, deliberately, he kissed her. Not gentle, not tentative, but deep and claiming and desperate. A kiss that tasted like fear and relief and something fiercer. When they finally pulled apart, his forehead rested against hers. "If you stay," he said quietly, "you stay as my equal. Not someone I protect in the shadows. My partner. My queen. Do you understand what that means?" She nodded, her heart racing. "Teach me." Over the next few weeks, everything changed. Kang Seo didn't hide his world from her anymore. He brought her to meetings, taught her the language of his business, introduced her to his most trusted men. At first, they were skeptical. She walked into rooms full of dangerous men and refused to be intimidated. She learned quickly. She learned how to read people, how to spot lies, how to navigate the complex web of alliances and rivalries. She learned when to speak and when to listen. And most importantly, she learned that she was far stronger than she'd ever believed. Kang Seo watched her transformation with something like awe. "You're a natural," he told her one evening as they sat in his private office, reviewing reports. "I'm terrified," she admitted. "Good," he said, a faint smile on his lips. "Fear keeps you sharp. But you hide it well." She looked at him. He looked more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. "Do you regret it?" she asked quietly. "Bringing me into this?" He reached across the desk, taking her hand. "Every day I worry about your safety. Every day I wonder if I'm being selfish keeping you here. But regret? He shook his head. Never. You've changed everything. You've made me remember what I'm building this empire for. Not just power, not just survival, but a future. Our future. Her chest tightened. I love you, she said, the words spilling out before she could stop them. His eyes widened slightly, then softened. I've loved you since the moment I read that text, he said quietly. A woman brave enough to bare her soul to a stranger. I knew then you were extraordinary. But their happiness was short-lived. Kim Tae-min, the rival who had attacked the warehouse, wasn't finished. Word reached them that he was planning something bigger, something that would destroy everything Kang Seo had built. We need to move first, one of Kang Seo's advisors said during an emergency meeting. Strike before he does. Amina sat in the meeting listening, learning. She had become someone new. Someone powerful. What if we didn't strike? She said suddenly. All eyes turned to her. Kang Seo's dark eyes studied her curiously. What do you mean? What if we negotiated? She said. What if we offered him something he wants more than your territory? The room erupted in protests. Kang Seo held up a hand for silence. Explain, he said to her. She took a breath. Kim Tae-min wants power, yes. But what he really wants is respect. Recognition. He's been in your shadow for years. What if you made him a partner instead of an enemy? Give him a piece of the empire in exchange for peace. That's weakness. One of the men spat. No, Kang Seo said slowly, his eyes never leaving hers. That's strategy. That's brilliant. Within days, the meeting was arranged. Neutral territory. Both sides armed but civil. Amina stood beside Kang Seo as Kim Tae-min arrived. A middle-aged Korean man with cold eyes and expensive suit. He looked at her with obvious disdain. You bring a woman to negotiate? He sneered in Korean. Kang Seo's expression hardened. I bring my equal, he replied in Korean. Then switching to English for her benefit. And she's the reason you're not dead right now. Show respect. The negotiation was tense. But slowly, carefully, Amina helped broker a deal. Kim Tae-min would get control of the Eastern Territories in exchange for an alliance. No more bloodshed. No more war. When it was done, when both men had shaken hands and the treaty was sealed, Kim Tae-min looked at Amina with something almost like respect. You're wasted on him, he said in English. She smiled.
No.
I'm exactly where I belong. That night, back at the estate, Kang Seo pulled her into his arms. You saved us today, he murmured against her hair. You saved everything. We saved us, she corrected.
Together.
He pulled back, looking at her with an intensity that made her breath catch. Then slowly, he knelt down, pulling a small box from his pocket. Her heart stopped. I know we've only known each other a short time, he said quietly. I know this world is dangerous and uncertain. But I also know I've never met anyone like you. Anyone who could stand beside me as an equal. Anyone who could make me want to be better. He opened the box, revealing a stunning diamond ring. Marry me. Be my wife. Be my queen. Rule this empire with me. Tears streamed down her face. She nodded. Yes, she whispered.
Yes.
1,000 times yes. He slid the ring onto her finger and stood, pulling her into a kiss that felt like coming home. Like finding the missing piece of herself she hadn't known was lost. 6 months later, they were married in a private ceremony. Not the traditional Korean wedding his family might have expected, but something uniquely theirs. A blend of cultures, of worlds. A celebration of two people who had found each other in the most unexpected way. As they stood on the balcony of their estate, soul glittering below them, Kang Seo wrapped his arms around her from behind. He held his wife. Do you ever regret it? He asked quietly. That wrong number? She turned in his arms, looking up at him with a smile that lit up her entire face. It wasn't wrong, she said. It was fate. It was the universe telling me exactly where I needed to be. And where's that? Here, she said simply. With you. Ruling our kingdom. Living our life. Being seen. Being loved. Being exactly who I was always meant to be. He kissed her softly, tenderly. And in that moment, under the soul stars, they both knew that sometimes the best love stories begin with a mistake. Sometimes the most dangerous man is exactly who you need. Sometimes being truly seen means stepping into the darkness and discovering you were always meant to shine there. Amina was no longer invisible, no longer lonely, no longer afraid. She was a queen. And this was only the beginning. Hello, beauties, and just like that, a wrong number became a destiny. A lonely woman became a queen. And a dangerous man learned that true power comes from love. Thank you so much for watching this incredible journey. If you love this story, please like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment telling me what you thought of Amina and Kang Seo's ending. And stay tuned because I have so many more amazing stories coming your way. Until next time, beauties, remember that sometimes the biggest mistakes lead to the most beautiful destinations.